What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Sit back, relax and enjoy the detailed review of Realme 8i, a low budget phone which has a lot of potential. Starting off with the build quality of Realme 8i, since this phone comes as a low budget phone, they don't really have a glass back or a metallic sides, but that does not make the build quality of this phone bad. Since this is a plastic back like polycarbonate or plastic as you can call it, the finishing of this does not feel any different of a glass, and the side is also really well finished. I was not able to see any defect or any quality issues regarding the size or the build quality of this phone. Now the phone itself is not that heavy as well because they don't really have metallic parts inside. Besides the internals of course, but the outside it's plastic, so the weight of this is limited even though the screen size is bigger than K20 Pro. So if you are someone who likes to watch a lot of content, stream a lot of Netflix, YouTube, media and online classes and all those things, the screen is really big enough, and the quality of the screen, which is LCD not AMOLED, that is the downside, but that LCD panel which is of high quality gives a very good quality images as well. But the downside here is the viewing angles. A lot of people have not noticed this, or all the reviews that are there on the YouTube have not mentioned this, but the viewing angles of Realme 8i is not that great. So if you look through the sides, you'll be able to see a pinkish to purplish tint depending upon what kind of light environment you are, but it's not as clear as it should be. 120Hz which has been added to this phone felt really nice, smooth, and it is way better than Redmi Note 10 Pro. In Realme, I think they have optimized it so well that I did not face any sort of frame drops or any scrolling lag or anything. The 120Hz that has been given is really promising and is really good quality screen as well. So that is also a plus side of this thing. The only caveat here is that AMOLED screen is not present, so it takes a bit more battery and the quality of the images would have been a bit more better had it been an AMOLED panel. And for gamers, this screen also has a 180Hz of touch sampling rate for that smooth response that you can get, and there is no delay as such. I tried playing a lot of games on this phone and the experience was something that I'll be telling you in a while later in this video. So make sure you also watch that part. But you would not be disappointed for the part of the screen or any sort of experience related with the screen of this phone. Now let's talk about the Realme UI 2.0. This is the very first time that I ever tested Realme UI on a Realme smartphone, and this was terrible. I mean, from the box itself when it turned on, as you could see in that unboxing video, which I'll leave the link here in the pop-up card or in the description, you get a lot of bloatware. And that bloatware just ruins the experience. And besides that, Google apps that are flashed already present in this phone are a ton of them, and there is no way that you can disable them or remove them. I tried uninstalling them, they had that option, but somehow they automatically get downloaded again. And Realme itself made sure that all those bloatwares that were provided, third-party bloatwares, could be removed. So that was one plus side, but Realme's own applications are so much baked into this that you cannot get rid of it. And what was even more surprising, that Realme says that those applications are a prerequisite and those are necessary for your Realme UI to run. Whereas I think some applications are really a bloatware in terms of us using it, because I don't really want to use Realme payment system in any way, and that is not necessary with my phone. Another very suspicious thing that I did notice was this camera application which is pre-installed in it requires you to have the phone permission given, and if you for some reason decide to not give it, you will not be able to reach out to your camera. Now camera and phone are two different completely things, and there is no correlation between them. So I did not understand why you would need to have this phone permission given on your camera application, and I think Realme has some justification for that, which I would like to know. If you guys know, let me know in the comment section below. But all that thing including ruined my experience of Realme UI, and so I'm not really a fan of it. But on the other side, there are a lot of customization features in the settings itself, so you can go ahead, tweak them out and customize your phone. I would appreciate a lot if Realme could look into it, narrow it down and remove all those bloatwares, because that caused nothing but trouble and that ruins the overall experience of running a phone. Now let's talk about the sound and the media quality of this Realme 8i. So if you're someone who does not have a laptop, PC or prefer to watch content on your phone, this phone, if you're running low on budget, is a really good choice for you because of the big screen, high quality refresh rate, and the screen quality is also great. You can spend your entire day watching something, streaming something, or playing day-long games. Although I would not recommend you because it's not healthy. But nevertheless, the speaker of this phone is also super loud. It's even though a mono speaker, the quality of that is decent enough. I said decent, it's not that rich, but it's loud enough for you to be able to hear everything. Overall, the experience of watching or streaming would be really good for you if you're watching something on your phone most of the times. Now let's talk about the camera system of a phone. These days, people have a really high preference when it comes to camera because that's something that they really use and want in their phone. That is also the part of reason why iPhones are really popular because of their really good camera system. Now here you can see you have 3 cameras and a flash. The flash is really low powered and I don't think why, but it just does not produce that much light. But these 3 cameras, I would like to tell you that the other 2, which is macro as well as the portrait, you can eliminate them from the camera list because they are just added to increase the count of the camera. However, the main camera, which is 50 megapixel primary sensor, is good enough for you to be able to take good quality portrait, landscape, or like any kind of shot in broad daylight. Low light scenario is not that good and you will be seeing some of the shots that I managed to click on this phone. Now let's talk about the battery backup as well as the charging speed. So this phone comes with a 5000 mAh battery and that big battery does not affect the weight of the phone because the weight distribution is good and the phone is light as well. However, that 5000 mAh of battery, as Realme claims, can get you 8 hours of non-stop gaming. That's not really true because when I tested it, I was lasting around 5 hours-ish on full charge on 120 Hz. So if you remove that 120 Hz, you will still be able to get about 6 hours depending upon what game you're playing and on what graphics you're playing. But 8 hours is a bit too much of a false information that they have provided. However, if you're streaming or like browsing internet on a daily basis, it will easily get you a screen on time of around 6 hours to 7 hours depending if you have 120 Hz on or off. If it is off, obviously you will get a bit more time to it. But the battery charging time takes around 2 hours to completely fill it up, whereas Realme claimed that this 18-watt charger can fill your phone in no time. I think that's also misleading because 2 hours is quite a lot of time. Now let's talk about the RAM management and Geekbench score. Now this is the point where the things start to get a bit more interesting because this model of phone that I have has 6 GB of RAM plus it supports up to 5 GB of virtual swap space. Now that is more considered as 11 GB of RAM on your phone if you enable that on the cost of your storage, I think. But the main question here is that does that really make a difference? Like, do you feel as if your phone has 11 GB of RAM into it? And does it perform a bit more smoothly or is it just a gimmick? Well, during my test, I ran Geekbench and this is the score that I got when the virtual RAM was disabled and when I enabled it and extended it all the way to 5 GB, making the entire phone's RAM as 11 GB as Realme claims. The score really did increase. That 11 GB is not really a gimmick, it does work, and based on the score itself, like you can see that the increase is there. Now it's not big difference, but it's still something like that can get you a bit more frame rates while you're playing a game. Now let's talk about the gaming experience of Realme 8i. Now although this is a low budget phone, Realme made sure that you would not feel as if you're playing on a low budget phone when it comes to gaming. With a dedicated gaming mode, virtual space that enables you to have up to 11 GB of RAM based on like swap space of course. The performance of the game in this phone was really not at all as compared to low budget phone. Like the performance as I got was really good, consistent, and the frame drops were not at all there. I got a constant frame rate of 59 to 60 when playing COD on maximum settings that you can get. With maximum, I mean you were not able to get high or like very high graphics, but on this price point I would not expect that either. Whereas also while playing PUBG, I did not see any lag, any frame drops as well. So if you're someone who really wants to play games on this phone, go ahead. Big screen's gonna help you, and that high refresh rate along with high touch response rate, both of them will also get you a nice gaming experience along with the processor as well as the battery drop. The battery drop while playing heavy games are not really that bad, and the phone does not get awkwardly warm when you are playing that, which I've seen a lot in Redmi 10 Pro, as I can remember, because that was running sort of like not so stable software of MIUI. Now let's talk about the big thing that I always prefer to have in a phone, which is custom ROM support. Now this Realme 8i has just launched in the market, and it's so new that Realme has not even added this in the list of phones that are able to unlock the bootloaders. So basically, if you download that deep testing application from Realme, you would not be able to unlock your phone's bootloader. I have reached out to Realme and asked when could I expect that, and they said that they didn't have any information on that, but I suspect around a couple of months for it to be able to get unlocked. And once the bootloader gets unlocked, I think from there on people can have a bit more development into it if the phone gets a bit popular. That's how it works. But so far right now there is no development of any ROM or any TWRP recovery or anything else, and you can't even unlock the bootloader of this Realme 8i as of now. Now let's talk about the final verdict. After testing this phone for 3 weeks, I have come to this conclusion that this phone can easily be recommended to any viewer or any person who has a low budget, below 15,000 I will say, so you cannot go for some reasons above that. This is something you can consider. Second, if you want to kick off your career as a low budget gamer, this can something be for you, because this performance is really good and you can really enjoy playing game on this big screen. Thirdly, if camera is not really your main preference and performance comes as the first preference when using a phone, then you can enjoy this phone as well. And lastly, if you're a person who is mostly on the move, don't really have that much of a time to charge your phone, 5000 mAh, easily 2 days of battery life if you're a normal user. Aggressive users 1 complete day on 120Hz enabled. If you have that disabled, you will get a bit more day time, as using this phone on 120Hz drains a bit more battery. So with that, this video ends here. If you enjoyed this, please leave your like as well as subscribe to my channel to stick to it and have these kind of videos regularly every week. And let me know in the comment section below what you thought was the best feature of this phone, Realme 8i, and if you are considering to buy it or not, and if there are any other suggestions that you want to give it to me. And with that, I'll be catching you guys later on with another video. Until then, you take care and peace.